It is Coach K coming to you today with two of my favorite recipes. And let me move this guy up. Two of my favorite recipes. Let's see if you can hear me. Yes. So I'm going to kick this off with these two recipes. Then I'm going to come into talk about mountain nutrition today. So these recipes are two of my favorite. They're my back pocket recipe. Everybody has a back pocket recipe. And these ones are so simple that I just made them. I just prepared them in the last half hour. They just take simple few ingredients. And that is my raw date squares, raw vegan date squares, and also my mountain energy bars. So many of you know the energy bars because I bring them on my tours and you can order them to take them with you during the tours. So I'm going to share, I just prepared most of the date square and I have all the ingredients of the date square here. And why this is so good is it's not your typical Christmas date squares. This is like dense, calorie rich, has a good amount of fat, has a good amount of carbs, but the right ones. And this will keep you going. You can even have this for breakfast. So I make these all the time and they're a hit with every person, even fussy people. I feel like I need to sit on a chair. So I'm going to bend down. So with these date squares, all you need is the base. All it is oats, walnuts, and the juice from medjool dates. So I let medjool dates soak in water for at least half a day so they're nice and soft. Blend it up in a food processor so it's a nice smooth consistency. So the base is just oats, walnuts mixed, and the juice from the dates. Blend it all up, and that is the base of these date squares. Then what comes in the middle are the dates left over from the juice. Those blend it all up to like a smooth consistency. That comes on top. And then the last part, I'm going to put it on right here with you. So I've heated it on the stove just a little bit here. So what this is a caramel sauce. Not just any caramel sauce. This is the caramel sauce to die for. This is made with cashew mousse, cashew butter, coconut oil. I'm on a cooking show. A little bit of oat milk, and a pinch of maple syrup. You don't even need the maple syrup. So what I do, once the squares are done, I load up the caramel sauce. The best part, the caramel sauce. And to be honest with you guys, I don't measure. I've been making this for eons and I don't need to measure. I just go by feel. You know, like grandma and her pies. Yeah, baby. And I recommend as you're cooking or baking just to do your own little dance as you do it. Pour some love into what you're actually making. So there's no cooking to any of these things. All there is a little bit of heating up, not boiling, it's just a little bit of warming up to mix up with the coconut oil and the coconut and the cashew butter. And it makes an incredible caramel sauce on top. Okay? So that's what it looks like. Finished? Yes. But it's really not finished until it's in the fridge for a bit. This recipe tastes better the longer it's in the fridge. So after 2-3 days, it's better. It's really firm. You can cut it up. You can take it to the mountains. You can take it anywhere. Great for breakfast. It's a beautiful, dense, rich, yum experience. That's the date squares. So I said, well, I need them anyhow in the house now, so why don't we do it together? This is my energy bars for the mountains. And so I take these in training. I take these in any mountain tours. I take these on group hiking tours. So all it is, I'm just going to mix it up now, is you can choose a gluten-free one. I use buckwheat for the gluten-free one, only buckwheat. But this time I'm mixing buckwheat and muesli. Your favorite muesli, you can look in your cupboard and see what the heck is there and make your own kind. Now there's one major ingredient that I don't have here that I would put in is raw chocolate nibs. Raw chocolate nibs, like the small cut up pieces, are incredible. So these are the bars. Now, sometimes I make them drier. Sometimes I make them stickier. That's up to you. So you can put more sauce in. This one's a little drier, but it depends how much sauce you put in. So this is what it looks like, energy bars. And all it is, like I said, is buckwheat, muesli, and how I bind it all is, I hope you guys can hear me. How I bind it all is rice syrup, tahini, so sesame, this is sesame butter, and coconut oil as well. You can also use coconut butter. And that's it. So that's the bind. Okay. So of course there's some sugar in it from the rice syrup, but the rice syrup is such a great bind. If I just use agave, it won't work. It has to be something like molasses, but molasses is not good. Trust me. I've tried this with every type of option because I've been making these for about 20 years. And every time I make them, they're different. It depends what's in the house. Okay, it totally depends what's in the house. Okay, so now it's all mixed. This will take you 5 minutes to make it home. And when you heat it up on the stove, just 2-3 minutes. So that goes, I feel like the Swedish chef. So that goes in here. I'm not saying I'm the most tidiest baker, although this is not baking. You do tend to find crumbs under the table and by my feet. And you know what? I'm completely okay with that. So these are the bars. These are the bars that I take on the tours and that everybody can, if they wish, they can order them before. Some people get a pack of 10, some people get a few. This is something you can have throughout your week, whatever tour it is. They're great snacks to take during the hike. So look at this, perfection. Mountain energy bars. I'll give you a little closer look. Okay. So there you have it, my 2 favorite recipes. Mountain energy bars, power date squares, no cooking involved, no baking, just a little bit of heat and just a little bit of love. I'm going to move that over to the side so I can post the recipes below here, but I wanted to put my 2 favorite back pocket recipes. Everybody has a back pocket recipe, and these are the ones I wish you guys could taste it, but you're going to have to come to my backyard. So I just need to move the camera a bit. So I'm going to go into a little bit of mountain prep nutrition. So first off, so I'm not going to go into eating styles. Everybody has a totally different style, and that's for yourself to choose. I'm vegetarian. I did live vegan for a while, and I get around really good in the mountains on vegetables. So everyone has a different philosophy on that. You have to test yourself, and you have to feel what works in your body, right? So I've been vegetarian most of my life, maybe as a kid not, and there's a couple years in my 20s that I wasn't. But the best way to know where you find the best energy and you're the most efficient is to do it, is to try it. I've done so many different eating styles like keto, um, paleo, vegan, regular vegetarian, and then you find your groove. And you know what? It's not about doing it all the time anyhow. It's finding what you can stick with 75 to 80% of the time. And the rest of the time you enjoy. So when you come to the mountains on one of my tours, part of the enjoyment of that tour is the food, is really diving into the food of that culture and letting go of any kind of like a strict way of eating. Although if you have a lifestyle like vegan, all of the hotels, everything caters to that. So you can still stay. That part doesn't change. I'm talking about diving into more delicacies, having the espresso, having the desserts, all that. I invite people to explore the taste adventure too when you're there. That's all part of it, right? So in general, the most important part of the nutrition is in the prepping for the mountains, is in the months before. Because as you get fitter and as you train your body, you're going to have better results when your nutrition is good for you as well. And you have to play around with it. And you have to see, okay, where do I have the most energy? When I do this, I feel the best. When I eat like this or I take this in, I react to this. I react this way. And so it's easier to leave it out. So I just wrote a few tips, highlights, to help you prep in the months before, because that's the key in nutrition. It's not about getting there and changing all your nutrition when you're there. It's all about how can I show up at the mountains in my healthiest, most vital body. So when I get there, I can let go. I can have fun. I can have my Aperol spritz. I can have all that stuff. And you can have that anytime, anyhow. It's just, as you're getting fitter, training for something, you want the best possible fuel and recovery for your body so you get the best results leading up to it. So how do we do that? Keep your body in the most uninflamed state possible. So typical inflammatory foods, alcohol, a lot of animal products, coffee, sugars, processed foods, all of those, a lot of dairy, all of those things, a reduction in them will make a difference in your body. Or you can do what I do. I do a 30-day cleansing. I just finished it. Every spring, it's like a reset because I know my training is about to ramp up. I want to come into the training for the summer, just like you guys for hiking, the best way possible with the most energy possible and feeling good about my body and being able to do the higher amounts of training, right? So I know I have to take the inflammation down, and I do that by way of cleansing the body. There's many different ways to cleanse, but I believe everybody should in some way give their digestive system a rest, take down the inflammatory foods, have a one day where you're really even just focusing on greens and fluids. That really helps in the inflammatory stuff. So I call that a spring cleanse, right? This is, I just finished it, and now I feel lightened up to go into the higher training. And I have a bit of an injury in that the cleansing can reduce the inflammation when you have little injuries too. Okay? It's about what's happening in your body. So in the back, knee, any of that stuff. So really moderate your inflammatory foods. Quality of foods. It's all about the quality, right? It's not about the calories you take in. It's about what's the quality of food, your macronutrients. Am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough fats? Am I getting enough carbs, of the right protein, of the right fats, the quality kind? I do more like a 40-30-30. People have different beliefs on that. Some people want to take more fat and then perform better with that. This is kind of the blend I've taken. And I just know by every time I eat, generally the percentage of it. I know I have to up my fats, especially in training, so I can go for longer periods of time without having a bonking, without having that, I constantly need food. So it's really good to train your body efficiently that when you go get out there, you don't have that tendency to drop blood sugar. You've got a good balance in your day to day. You're getting good fats. You're getting enough protein, even of the vegetable source, doesn't have to be meat. And you're getting good carbs. What's good carbs? There's a lot of different good carbs. You got your oats, you got your quinoa, you got your buckwheat, you got your different grains, sweet potatoes, your fruits, your vegetables. I had a woman on one of my tours once, she said to me, I don't know how you get up the mountain eating the salads and the veggies you do. And I'm like, well, I think it's a myth. It's a myth that you need all these typical power, high, large amounts of meats and all these high energy carbohydrates to get up the mountain. Not true. Not true. It's quality of food. I eat a lot of fat. So I eat a whole avocado in one sitting. That's a lot of fat. But I love it. My body craves it. And it gets me a while through the mountains. So this is about finding the quality of food. And if you're getting the right quality, you don't need a lot of food, which means your body is satisfied. You don't need 10,000, what do you call those? Do you remember way back in the days when they're wagon wheels? I just wanted those so much. But those things that you want more and more of. When you're satisfied with your body, when you're satisfied with the food you're putting in, you don't need those high amounts. It's the density, it's the quality, it's the density that will get you up there. One date square and you're good. The other date squares at Christmas, you'll need 5 of them, right? So it's getting that rich, good quality food. And now, fuel yourself right before and after training. So before you go on a long training, a long hike, and the day before, you make sure you don't have heavy foods like dairy fat laden foods. Okay, that's very different. Foods that take a lot of time to digest, big, large amounts of pasta. You don't need that. So eat healthy before and a normal, good carbohydrate breakfast before. I'm talking about before long training. I'm talking about before your long hikes. And then you can just carry good snacks with you. Carry, hint, hint, good snacks with you. Nuts, dates. I use dates a lot. I eat a lot of nuts. So it's finding the right sources that keep you going a while. So you're not needing every hour and a half, boom, 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 to eat something. When your body's efficient and it's healthy going into those high intensity phases, you'll find you won't need a whole lot out there. What's important is the hydration. Huge. So the hydration is the big key here. And the hydration can come in many forms. So you want water before, but during your training, you need to, depending on the heat, depending on the time of year, the length of time, the intensity, you'll need electrolytes too. And you'll notice if you don't have them. You'll fatigue more, your body won't work as properly. So when you know you're sweating a lot, like me, I know when I need extra electrolytes in them. Okay? So I use my own electrolyte from the nutritional company I've had for 17 years, but you can use your own sea salt version. There's electrolytes you can get in many forms, but that you only need if you're going long, long, long hours. Okay? But if it's really hot, then even if you're not going long, long, long hours, you still need a little bit of electrolytes extra. So I got sticky hands here. So during the hike, You've prepped, you feel fit, you're good, you feel strong, lean, ready for your week-long hike. During the hike when you're there, so when you're there, we're just making sure that we're not having these heavy loaded breakfasts because you're going on a 5-6 hour hike, 4 or 5, 6 hour hike, right? And we'll talk about that when you're there. Hydration is key. Again, electrolytes because we're doing day after day after day. Okay. And then be mindful of eating and drinking. So during the hike, it's very easy to forget to drink. Some people need to set a timer because they've got it in their back. They don't have a camel pack. And you can practice that during your training. Practice, okay, if you tend to be one that forgets to drink, you got to set a timer or remember. Usually in a group, we stop every half hour for a very short break, and then every 2 hours for a little longer break. So there we do drink. But even in your longer trainings, you want to make sure you drink during, hydrate, but also leading up to the long hike, right? Yeah. And making sure that once you've finished them, you recover well after. Especially when you're at the event and you have a heavy load of hiking day after day after day, which you want to train at home too. It's like, okay, I'm back from this hike. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. No, it's important to fuel right then. It's important to hydrate right then because what you do in that window will affect your performance the next day. So you're always thinking ahead, and then you can practice that in your training on the weekends. As you build up your training towards the hike, we're going to build in weekends where you have 3 hikes in a row, 2 to 3 hikes in a row. Longer hikes, back to back, to train the body to do back to back. That's when you can really practice your nutrition. That's when you can practice your hydration and practice, what works, what doesn't work. Oh, I didn't feel good when I did that. I didn't feel good when I had nuts. Nuts don't work for me. They work well for me, but maybe not everybody, right? Everyone has a different system and you got to try it out. Okay. And so the post hike is also important to carry on for those number of days. Now I want to bring up 3 myths in the nutrition. One of them I already said. If you're a vegetarian or eat a lot of veggies, you can't get up the mountain. Bull crap. So especially if you're eating big salads and you have good fats and stuff, you're good. So that's one of the myths. But one other, the main myth is thinking that you need to carbo load. We kind of growing up in the marathon world, they think carbo loading is important, especially if you're doing hours and hours of stuff. No, it is not. What the carbo loading actually is decreasing as you build your training and you get closer to your big event, you begin to taper, decrease, and eat the same. As you taper and eat the same, your body will load up the carbohydrates